Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of Feed the Beast Infinity Involved on the Ryotcraft server. With me, Clobberstomp. That's right. So, as you can see from where we started, there's a lot of bee stuff going on. Now, I know, don't get overwhelmed. We will talk about all of this stuff. I just kind of been going to town and I figured I'd give you a little update on where we're going and what all of this stuff is. But first off, how are you guys today? I hope you guys are having a really good day. I am. I've gotten a lot of production done here. I'm feeling pretty good. So, as you can see, going to our Apiarist database, we have started getting some different bees. And I got about 10 of these automatic or industrial apiaries going, which is good. You know, I got a cactus there, I've got some mushrooms here, we got other types of flowers to make all these kind of go. We will talk about all that in a minute. You remember last time we were kind of talking about the analyzer? Well, look at that, we've got one. So here, I'll show you kind of how the setup works. We don't have any. Okay. So we'll take some honey, we'll put the honey in the squeezer, bam, it will squeeze, it'll fill this up, and when it gets to, actually it doesn't get anything, it will leave this transfer node. There's a transfer node down here, can you see it? There it is, transfer node. It'll go either into the honey bedrockium drum, or it will go into the analyzer. So what you can do with the analyzer is you can take a bee. That one's already analyzed. Let's take this marshy drone for instance. We'll take this drone, we'll put that in there, and it'll start to analyze it. When this bar goes all the way down to the bottom, we will now then have a marshy drone that will give us all of our information. It's a little bit more automated than putting it in the beealyzer and doing that. It takes a little bit of time, but it works, and you can, I'm pretty sure you can automate this. I have not done it, so that's something we're going to have to work on. I will work on that at some point and get this whole thing worked out so we have full automation. Now, if I take this bee out and we take a look at them, it'll give us that. But if we look at it in the beealyzer, it'll give us all its information. So there we go. It's got all the information that we want. It has 0 generations. It's not a very long bee. You can tell that it's damp, which means it needs a different type of climate. It needs mushrooms for flowers on the inactive part. The inactive part is a little bit less likely of an issue than the active part. The active part is the part that the bee gets its characteristics from. It does have inactive characteristics which can transfer from time to time and then become active. So just be aware of that when you're breeding. But yeah, so this needs a damp climate. So if we put this into this guy here, he won't run. He won't work at all because it needs damp. Now, here's one that is damp. So let's take this guy out. This is at 65. So if we use our beealyzer, we'll put that in there. When we take a look, this requires flowers. No big deal, but it does require a damp humidity. It also is diurnal, nocturnal, no, tolerant flyer, and cave dwelling. Tolerant flyer means whether or not it's going to hurt you when it's flying. I believe cave dwelling means it has to be dark. But there are different upgrades like we were talking about. So to make this bee work, I had to put in a light upgrade, which means that it thinks that it's light, it thinks it's sunny out. It has to be open sky, so it thinks that there's open sky above it. It also has to be damp. Now these stack up to 8, so some of them need like, as if to simulate like an ocean biome. I believe there actually is an upgrade for the ocean biome itself. Yeah, ocean emulation upgrade. So this would make this whole apiary think that it's actually in the ocean. But this one only needs just damp. Now if I take one of these off, it'll stop working. It'll say it's in a hostile environment. So we need to put that back on. and it will run. And then also automation, so anytime this keeps working, a new marshy drone will come in here and they'll just continue to keep working through. So a few of these have needed the light upgrade, a few of them have needed damp. This is all part of me kind of tending my bees, and I've just been kind of going through. Now this one has stopped. It has a hostile environment, probably because it doesn't need damp anymore. If I pull that off, yep, sure enough, so it's going to run again. So I could have put this in the beealyzer and let that run, but I don't think we need to. That's only a princess. Oh no, it is a queen. Okay. Perfect. So that's going to run. It's going to take a while. Yeah. They do take a long time to breed. Some of them take a lot longer than others. So you kind of just have to babysit. That's what the automation's for. If the automation doesn't work, it means that it didn't have a bee to put back in here, or a drone to put back in here for you, and otherwise it'll just keep kind of recycling until the queen or the princess dies. And there are also upgrades for that, like this production upgrade. Look at this. This does 20% production, which means it'll produce a whole 20% more, and it uses 20% more energy consumption, which is not a big deal to us. But we can't make those yet because we don't have royal jelly. Those come from imperial queens. So we have to breed our bees up to get to imperial queen. Now we need a noble princess and a majestic drone. Now I've got a lot of this information on a spreadsheet because I've done this so many times, and I found a lot of websites. I'll put that information down below if those websites are still active. The last time I did bees was in the monster series, so it might be tough for me to try to keep all that information straight, but whatever information I have, I will put in the details for you guys. So yeah, this is kind of an update of what we got going. So we got a little bit of automation. I had to change this pipe here with a wrench because this ended up turning into a water drum because it wasn't filling and it was connected to that pipe. So I had to kill that, which is fine. What was the other thing I was going to say? Hostile environment. Oh, that probably doesn't need damp anymore either. That one probably does need damp. Yeah. So these ones kind of will flicker back and forth depending on whether or not they need damp, because I started using some that I probably shouldn't. There's also needed mushrooms, and sometimes they need cactus, so that's why I kind of have these kind of going here. Usually they use normal flowers. Sometimes they even need a block of water, which is nice because we've got some source blocks back here, which works out. I have that destroyed until that bucket's gone, or that drum. What was the other thing we could work on? Here we go. Yes. We were making woven silk. Now, this is made from silky combs. So if you put silky propolis in here, you'll get a 60% chance of getting these silk wisps. Now you can put these silk wisps in here and make woven silk. Then you can take the woven silk and make yourself your apiary costume, or yeah, your Apiarist's suit, so to speak. And what else do we need? Do we need boots? Boots. So we've got enough. And the reason you need this, we don't need it now because we're really not in that area. But what this does is this is protective. We can get rid of this, and this is kind of what it looks like. There we go. So now if we have any hostile bees that are here, the hostile bees won't hurt us because we're in our bee suit. Yeah, the bee suit. We are now in Apiarists. Very cool. So I'm actually going to take that off and put these other ones on because we don't need it right now. I will keep that in my inventory, and we'll put the woven silk back in there. Put these bees back in there as well. So yeah, we've been moving right along, and it's pretty good. Oh, looks like we found an ebony bee too. Very cool. I don't know what all this means. I think that it means we don't have a full pure ebony bee. We've got a bee that has characteristics of ebony, which has enough characteristics to tell us that we have these different species here, but we haven't found all of them. Or maybe that's just how it's laid out. I'm not quite sure. But I don't, yeah, we don't actually have a full branch of ebony yet, because otherwise it would show us. But yeah, and all the bees produce different things. So a rocky, and this is where you kind of get into these certain things. So if you want to make a ebony bee, you can take a rocky and a valiant, and you can get an ebony. Now, what you end up doing when you get to ebony, whoa, I didn't want to do that, is we're starting to get to common, which is good because that's like the baseline. Common is like the baseline, because then we can get up towards imperial from there, and noble bees and stuff like that. We don't have a ebony bee yet, but what you want to do is once you get an ebony bee, you want to try to get another one, because then you keep breeding the ebony queen or princess and drone together to get an ebony queen, hopefully to get one that's completely pure, and then you keep doing that same thing so you can get a pure ebony bee, because then it will produce ebony, whatever the ebony bee produces. So let's look that up actually. And we'll look at that and we'll see. Actually, I don't know what it produces. DNA. Okay. The ebony bee is used to make slate queens and stained queens. Oh, here we go. It makes a blank tinted comb and regular comb. So you have a 25% chance of getting black tint, which is pretty much just black dye, which is really not that big of a deal when it comes to ebony, but kind of cool. And if you look at the bee list we had looked at before, where was it? Nope, that's not what we wanted. We wanted forestry. Look at all the bees we have. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, about 4 pages of bees that we can get that do all sorts of things, and it looks like some of them can even be used to make in like Botania. So we're really gonna have to build this up if we want to keep kind of going, which is pretty darn cool. I mean, look at this stuff. There's just so many cool things you can do. We have to get into mutations. We're going to be getting into a lot of this stuff, but I figured I would get you guys up to date with what we were got going on. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and make sure you leave them down in the comments. I'm going to continue on breeding bees and seeing how far we get up. Oh, breeding. What you do to breed. Oh, we didn't even talk about that. Yeah, I'm sorry. So what you do, here, for instance, let's take this guy out. What you do to breed is you take a drone, and we have a valiant drone and a marshy princess. Now you want to take 2 that are different. So obviously I don't have a bunch of, I'm just using what I have lying around. Ooh, we don't want to use that. So we use a marshy princess and a valiant drone, and these will give us a chance to make a queen. Now this queen will have certain characteristics, and we need this guy here. There we go. And it's probably going to need, there we go. So now if I take this out, I'm going to guarantee it has some sort of dampness, and it needs light. Yep, and it uses mushrooms. So there we go. Now if you go through all of these, you can see all of its mutations that it can get from. But as you mutate these further and further down the line, you get into other bees. Now you always have to use 2 different ones if you want to try to mutate them to get to a different breed. You always use 2 different ones, but if you want a regular one, if you want to keep the same stock that you have to use the same 2 bees that are same. So valiant and a valiant, and that will help blend the line together to get pure bees. And anytime you do 2 bees that are different, we'll take the line and try to split it and learn more about different lines of bees and try to mutate them into other genres. Kind of just like anything else that you would think of. So, alright guys, I think that's a good place to stop. I know it's a lot more explaining, but there's a lot going on when you start doing bees, and I figured I wanted to give you guys a good tutorial on how to get started. These are all industrial apiaries running on power, and then you can make these upgrades. The upgrades are made just in a regular, any other crafting table that you would have. You'd start with the frame, but if you choose like this guy, you would, that's a poor example. So planes emulation, you could make this, make these gears, and just kind of, it's shaped crafting, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Alright guys, if you like this episode, go ahead and stomp that like button. It really helps me out. And oh, we're gonna have to get some sort of bee hat, or should we keep the wizard hat? What do you guys think? Let me know. Alright guys, we are doing bees and we are diving in. So if you like this video, stomp the like button. If you have questions, I'd like to discuss, your bee stuff in the comments. What kind of crazy bees have you ever gotten to? I will save that for my next episode, talking about how far I've gotten into bees, but I'm sure there's some of you out there that have done bees way further along than I have, so let me know what kind of bees you got to. I would love to hear and discuss about your bee keeping tendencies and options, and how you guys tend to your bees, and how you guys really get automation going and stuff like that. So as always guys, don't forget to share and like on all your favorite social media, and I will catch you in the next episode.